107.5 The Game Podcasting is sponsored by Modern Exterminating, a family-oriented company. Professional, honest, and dependable pest control solutions. We're your one-stop shop for all pests.
Yeah, have to look at it. They did a good job covering, and, there were some protection issues. There were some times where LaNorris certainly probably needed to step up in the pocket and help the offensive line out. But we said this game, Todd, was going to come down to the fourth quarter, and guys got to make plays. And there were too many times where, they made the plays, and we didn't. We got to continue to design ways to get guys open. We got good enough receivers where they should be able to get open. It was good to see some of those guys make plays. We need to make more of them. There were too many competitive plays tonight that we didn't make from a competitive standpoint.
Terry, that's just been a theme this season, and again, it comes back to what you said, what I've said, what we've heard from some of our listeners and fans. It doesn't feel like, for whatever reason, this offense has ever been tailored to the personnel that South Carolina has. We know it's a deep and talented wide receiving core. We know they've got at least capable backs. Again, maybe nobody to the level of Rocket Sanders or, as Jalen mentioned a few years ago when Rico Dowdle was here doing his thing. But you've got guys that have shown some flashes of production, and that's just it, flashes. There's not been that consistency, and that, as much as anything else, is why Mike Shula's gone. Mike Shula's been fired. And for a lot of you, I understand fully and completely that you're asking what took so long. I get it. I think perhaps you do it now because there is an off week and there is at least a sliver of hope that you could win 3 straight and get to postseason eligibility. We don't have a line, obviously, on the A&M game yet. We have a computer projection, which I think, Terry, is something like 16%. The last time I looked, it might have changed by now, but you don't have much of an opportunity when you go to College Station a week from now. It'll be a day game. It'll be an 11 o'clock local kick. Sometimes people think you can take advantage of that as the road team. We'll see. But you fired Mike Shula. And so now what, right? Like that to me becomes the question. In the short term, Mike Furry and Sean Elliott will likely split the opportunity. Who calls plays ultimately once we get to another game in 12 days' time? We'll find out. Both those guys, Furry and Sean, have experience in calling plays. So, what that looks like, I don't know. How Shane wants to handle that this week, I imagine gets found out. But more importantly, I think, is how much different can this offense really look?
Obviously, LaNorris went from could be first pick overall in the draft, Jay, to, well, that guy's got a lot of upside and he's got a lot of talent, but he's still not getting better this year, so maybe he's going to drop a bit, blah, blah, blah. Would it benefit him to come back for another year? That was thrown out in the last 24 hours. I'll let you start. Where are you going with this whole LaNorris idea?
Well, I honestly, that it was even put into print and even brought up for discussion that he could come back was a bit of a surprise to me. I can understand the logic, but I would still lean toward the fact that he's going to head on to the next level. And despite what he's looked like this season, and despite the lack of production that's been there, and what considering what was expected of him and the team, I don't know how much the NFL really cares about that in the grand scheme. Do they to some degree? Certainly. And it depends on how you want to look at it. With an example like Anthony Richardson, do we look at him as a cautionary tale, or do we look at him as why the NFL types will still draft you based on your potential and your upside and those kind of things? LaNorris is better than Anthony Richardson as a collegiate quarterback, in my opinion. Is he a better overall athlete or whatever? I don't know. I'll let somebody else decide that, Terry. But I do think that we've seen more good from LaNorris in a relatively short amount of time than we saw from Richardson.